Hey guys, Barry here, and welcome back to another edition of Nintendo Impact Gaming. And this is another edition of the podcast show, of course. And I have a massive guest. He is our first music guest in the show, and this guy is Joel Bille. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, thank you. I'm fine.
So I want to ask. Sorry, should I pronounce Joel Bille or Joel Buell?
In proper Swedish, it's Joel Bille.
Buell.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so I don't know. You can say pretty much whatever. I'll think I understand it's me you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just have this weird thing in my head to call you Billy Joe. You know, from Green Day for some reason.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
Well,
don't know why.
you're not the first. Billy Joel is also a big name I hear a lot.
Yeah. So will people confuse you? No.
Oh yeah, probably.
All right. That's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So tell us about who you are. If people don't know who you are, what do you do any for a living?
Yeah, right now for a living, I'm actually a video game music composer, I suppose, and producer.
Yeah.
Um, I worked for Zoink Games lately with Stick It to the Man and now Zombie Vikings.
Yeah. How's that
Um,
going for you? Were you at Gamescom at all this week? No.
no, I wasn't actually. I was back here in Sweden. Um, I'm pretty much done with the Zombie Vikings game now. I think they're wrapping it up right now. Actually, this is probably the last week of production they have coming up now.
Yeah, because I know Klaus was saying that August, September could be released.
Yeah, I
So,
think I think they have a set date now. I'm not. Maybe the 1st of September could be.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
actually the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain for PS4.
oh
So
yeah.
I'll be picking that
Good.
up
Good.
myself anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So tell us about your inspirations anyway. What got you like into the whole music scene? You know.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. I started playing early. Started playing the drums in school when I was like 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I've played in various bands since then, actually, on various instruments as well. Uh, I had my first band started in high school when I was like 15 or 13-ish.
Cool.
Kind of crappy pop punk Blink 182-ish band. Uh, but since then I've played a lot, but um, most of the time it's been like a heavily overgrown hobby of mine, and I've done like other things for a living or studied like environmental science and things. But the last 3 or 4 years, I've been doing just music in different ways. As a musician, performing, and all, but mostly producing music, recording and producing and mixing, and for others and for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually have a lot of common. I studied creative multimedia in college. I
Oh,
done like 2 years PLC, you know, like building that portfolio as such.
yeah, yeah.
And then I done 4 years in college, like, and like I have like audio experience as well. You know, like I am a musician. I play drums. You know, I'm playing now over 8 years, 8.5 years now. I think my cousin
Okay,
taught me when
wow.
I was I 16 or something. Yeah, 16,
Yeah.
and I've loved it since then. Like I started actually. No, like it's actually one of the instruments you're using on Zombie Vikings is the piano accordion. I started playing
Oh,
when I was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
younger. I hate
Oh,
it when I
cool.
was younger, but I
Yeah,
guess like under like years later, you know, it's good. It's kind of good to know if you're into music. I guess
yeah.
I tried playing guitar and I still can't hack it to this day at all.
And I haven't really got the hang of guitar either. I mean, I play a lot of instruments, but guitar is still a mystery.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind. Drums is harder than play, you know, play than guitar, but I
Yeah.
find drums a lot easier.
Yeah, me too.
It's weird, and I can well, a tiny bit of saxophone, but I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, I play the
Alto sax,
saxophones.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I play both alto and baritone saxophone. Uh, but yeah, it's a mess. Especially the alto, I think, is most difficult to get to sound okay. I mean, it sounds like crap
yeah,
if you don't do anything active not to sound like crap.
yeah. So, how did you get involved with Zoink Games? You know, what's your relationship
Mm.
there?
It's actually thanks to my older brother, Hugo Bille,
Yeah,
who's been a producer and programmer there. And it started out when they were making Stick It to the Man. He told me that they were searching for a musician for the game. And I saw a trailer and some pictures and got really hooked and thought that I could make something good with it. Uh, So I threw together a demo of like 3 or 4 songs in a day or two and sent them,
Yeah.
and the team seemed to like it, and I got the job uh, to make the Ticket to the Man soundtrack.
And have you been contacted by any other game companies to do music for them as well?
Yeah, not really. I've talked a bit with Zoink's like sister company, Image and Form.
Okay.
They actually contacted me to make the music for SteamWorld Heist that they're releasing
Oh
soon.
yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the time I didn't have any time to make a proper demo to send them, so
Yeah.
it went to somebody else. But we're still talking, so maybe some time in the future
Yeah. Yeah. Like
could
for
be.
anyone who doesn't know, like music as recording and editing takes a lot of process.
Yeah,
And like,
it
how
does.
long did it take you to record "Stick to the Man" overall?
I'm not sure actually exactly, but when I work with Zombie Vikings now, I actually counted the hours, and it took me a bit more than 3 months of full-time work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the style of "Stick to the Man," and then
Oh
if I
yeah.
compare that to "Zombie Vikings," like how did you get the style for both of them? What made you pick the jazzy style compared to the sort of rocky style?
Yeah, it's a really huge difference between those two games. But Stick It was uh, more that I saw the trailer that they sent me and got an idea of what I wanted to do with it. A lot inspired by the soundtrack from Grim Fandango. Grim Fandango is an old game by LucasArts,
Okay.
like in the Monkey Island series ish. It's not a part of the Monkey Island series. It's another game.
Yeah.
It has a really really nice, very jazzy, like jazz noir soundtrack that inspired me a lot. And so I made this demo for Stick It to the Man with like my interpretation of the videos and the pictures I saw, and they liked it. So I just like did more of that.
Yeah, I like for me when I was playing the game, like the music really stuck out,
Okay,
and
cool.
yeah, like it's just like no way is this like an indie game. Like this is just fantastic. Like the quality of everything, from design to audio, to like the voice acting was just like
Yeah,
great for an indie game. Top notch stuff. Like
yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean it's a huge project to be an indie game,
yeah,
and I suppose I mean kind of in the borderland of indie games and proper games. It's a really big project.
yeah. Do you feel like Zoink Games have sort of set a standard in the industry? I guess as in quality, overall.
Oh yeah, yeah. I suppose you could say that. I mean, still, I mean the indie game development community is a really
Yeah,
big thing, and there's lots of space for different levels of standards. I mean, there's room for small, cheap productions as well as bigger ones.
yeah, of course.
And I mean, Zoink Games is still a company where people actually get paid to do the games.
Yeah,
So in that way, I mean, the process can be a lot different from like a group of friends who does it on the side of their proper jobs,
okay.
which I
Yeah.
think makes a lot for to make it possible to make these kind of games. People need to get paid so they have time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed. I'm going to talk about a couple of tracks in specific. You'll see why in a sec. But
Yeah,
one of them, "Get Me a Shrink,"
yeah.
I honestly thought it's my favorite song on the game's album. Like,
Thanks a lot.
yeah, I just love the whole feel of it. But
Yeah,
like when I was listening to it, I was like, that sounds so familiar. And if I put that song with a game called Little Big Planet,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that sort of style is, I think it would suit it perfectly.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of had this vision in my head. Put the two of them together, and it worked fine.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
Never thought of that, but I suppose yeah. I love that game.
yeah, yeah. Before we get on the game, sorry, Coma Dream there, and
Yeah.
Get Me Shrink. Can I ask whose idea it was to put the I don't know, like the funny vocals, if you want to call them,
Oh
in it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Who done them anyway?
It's probably my idea, and in the Coma Dream is it's the trumpet player singing,
Yeah,
and actually in the actual game that track is much lower in the mix. You can barely hear that it's vocals there. Actually, we didn't want it to collide with the text in the game and the voice acting.
Yeah.
So we had to put it down. But it's really funny. We wanted him to sound like half drunk, coma, slurring. So I think we actually recorded it in a much lower tempo than the song is, and then like kind of cut it together so that it like would sound that he was actually singing too slow,
Yeah.
but still ending up roughly in time.
Yeah.
And the other track, Get Me a Shrink, it's a saxophonist singing. He's a singer as well.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And that was also not in the actual game soundtrack because it was taking too much attention. But then in the soundtrack, I got to do what I wanted, so I put it back in because I think it's hilarious as well.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. It's like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
I sing myself, you know. I do a lot of I do a lot of jazz music, you know, swing music, and like there's a resemblance there, I guess, you know, with the whole kind of jazz scene. Like, would you have listened to the likes of the Rat Pack, you know, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Ella Fitzgerald, you know?
Yeah, of course.
What got you into jazz music anyway?
This was actually my first like big jazz production that I did. I like written like just single songs now and then, but this was my first like big album that was in the jazz genre, and it was very much inspired by that game I told you about, Grim Fandango. You should check that out if you like the soundtrack.
Yeah, I will.
Grim Fandango by Peter McConnell. But there's also a Swedish band called Coop, Koop, which is also the kind. I mean, it's jazz and also like based on samples and loops, and like kind of electronic jazz.
Electronic jazz. How does that work out?
I mean, it doesn't really sound electronic but it takes them years to make an album because they like go through old records and find like, oh, here's 2 bars of a nice drum beat, and they take that and loop it, and then they do like that and create a whole album. So it's got a really special sound. Yeah. And that was a big inspiration as well for Stick It to the Man.
How do you feel about, I guess, the jazz sort of swing industry today, as in you have the likes of Robbie Williams, Michael Bublé, like even Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy, they all do all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like there's not much jazz out there, you know? Like I think myself, it's kind of faded, as people don't, like if you compare music to 1960 to now, it's like, no offense, but it's all this kind of techno kind of crap, you know, it's all kind of rave disco music.
Yeah. I mean, in the like the mainstream culture, in like popular culture scene, there's not much jazz anymore. But I mean, there's a huge jazz community still, but it's sort of underground, or not underground probably, but it's either underground or it's like fancy concert hall music. Yeah. But I live in Gothenburg, where I live. There's a huge scene of like jazz students playing, and like it's you know, people go to the university playing jazz music, and there's a huge scene of like really talented, well-trained jazz musicians. But it's kind of an exclusive scene. Yeah. I mean, people at the concerts are usually the same people playing. And there's jazz musicians playing for other jazz musicians. But I mean, it's there, but it's not as like mainstream as it was back in the days of these huge artists that you mentioned. What all instruments can you play anyway yourself? Yeah, I play nowadays mostly piano and drums, but I play a lot of saxophone, mostly baritone saxophone. Yeah. And I got an accordion last year that I play a lot on now too. In Zombie Vikings, I play a lot of electric guitar actually, and bass as well. But yeah, it's mostly consisting of a lot of recording time and cutting and editing that makes it work. Yeah, so like, would you all record them separately, you know, as different tracks and put it together, or would you get like a big band together for the game? I've both these 2 projects I've made like track by track. Yeah. Mostly, almost everything, because it needs to be separated to be edited properly in this kind of work, because a lot of the tracks are like versions of each other. There's like in Secret to the Man, there's 4 songs that's the same composition but different tracks and different versions. Mm-hmm. But I use the recordings from one song and I cut out lots of small pieces from that and use it in different places, and create new things out of that.
Yeah.
And that way I kind of need to have all the instruments separated to do that.
Yeah.
And it becomes a lot more flexible to work with. I mean, if I had like unlimited time and money, it would of course be really cool to rehearse properly with a band and record a band live. That would be amazing. But it takes a lot of more work to have musicians play together properly. You have to rehearse a lot, and it's easier that way to just have them record one by one, and then I can edit everything to get what I want easier. So it's kind of a budget thing.
Yeah.
But it also, I mean, I really love to work that way, by like creating music not only in the actual recording situation, but afterwards, and edit things together and create loops and stuff like that. In Secret to the Man, I did a lot of that. I had the musicians play the themes and the melodies that I had written.
Yeah.
And then I had them play like a couple of loops through the tracks, just improvising and like playing a solo a couple of laps. And then I used the solo things to just cut that phrase by phrase and put it in other places. Like used it. Sometimes I used put together different phrases that I had improvised and made a new song out of them in a new way.
Yeah.
So there's lots of songs in the game that the musicians haven't even heard, but they're playing in it.
Yeah, yeah. Like I noticed there's a couple of tracks. I think at least 2 tracks in the game in Stick It to the Man that actually aren't even on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
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 Like there's a couple of melodies I can hear, but like, or even like sometimes in the game, you might hear the song, but there's no kind of, even though if there is vocals on it, there's no vocals at all in the game as well, depending on what it is like. Yeah, so tell us about your feeling in music and video games today. Like, what do you be into? I don't know, like me personally, I love the music from Super Mario Galaxy for Wii,
Yeah.
The Last of Us on PlayStation 3 and 4, that kind of thing. Like, how do you look up to any other composers?
Yeah. I really like most of like Nintendo's music in general, especially the old things.
Yeah.
I love like the soundtrack for Zelda Wind Waker. It's probably my favorite soundtrack. I mean, all the Zelda games are amazing, and the Mario games. Galaxy is really good. Yeah,
I love Galaxy myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think game music nowadays has been more and more turned into this orchestral thing that Super Mario Galaxy did, and most new games have this whole big orchestra setting, which I'm not really into like classical music in general, so sometimes I can't really connect with the orchestral things.
Yeah.
But I mean that depends a whole lot on what it is. I really love like melodical music that's kind of has a catchy melody. Like, I mean, most, especially old video game music has. And also Galaxy has a lot of that, but in an orchestral setting, which makes it really nice.
Yeah.
But I like when it's kind of concrete, and that it's a melody and there's chords.
Look at Mario and then put that against like the likes of Streets of Rage, for like from Sega. It's a kind of like stuff like that. It's like a techno kind of MIDI, if you get me.
Yeah.
The style, but it's just brilliant though.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard that game, the second one yet.
All right, Streets of Rage, like it is, like it came out for the Sega Mega Drive, Sega Genesis is known in America, and they actually re-released 2 of the games, for on 3D for the 3DS, like.
Okay.
But like the music is very catchy, like stuff like that. There, has been like big inspirations for like even music producers today,
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing what they could do with the means they had back then. They had like 4 channels of very, very limited synthesizers and made amazing things with that.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
All right, so tell us what all video games would you play today, or would you play any at all?
Yeah, recently I haven't really played, I haven't really catched onto the latest games. I have a 360. That's my latest console,
Yeah.
and okay MacBook Pro. So I haven't really followed the PS4 and Xbox One scene a lot. But my most recent game was Shenmue 2. Have you heard of Shenmue?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I've been wanting to play that game for ages, and now I found it like in a secondhand store for Xbox One. No, not one. Like the first Xbox.
Oh yeah, yeah, the original Xbox
Yeah.
One, technically, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. uh, but that worked well on the 360 as well. So that was my most recent like big game that I played.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it a lot. But then I play mostly like indie games that I find on Steam, I suppose.
Yeah, Steam I think has great content of games, you know, you can like
Yeah.
if you Steam bundles, you know, like the savings on it is just class, you know, like the games on there, you can get free games on it, you know, free to play.
Yeah, yeah.
And like even like games that are nearly like next to nothing, you know, for free.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good.
And I suppose you have Second to Demand on PC.
Yeah. Yep.
But do you have any Nintendo systems, like any old ones?
We had a GameCube back home.
Yeah,
We actually didn't, my neighbor had the older one, the NES and the SNES.
yeah,
But we in our home the first Nintendo console was the GameCube actually. But I mean I played a lot of Nintendo 64 and stuff at friends anyway.
yeah.
So that's that was a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, like the first system I ever played was the SNES, you know, and
Yeah.
the first game I ever played was Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
And like I never owned a NES or a GameCube myself, but the only way I can play GameCube games is on my Wii.
Oh yeah.
So that's pretty handy there, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I do actually have Wind Waker HD, the
Oh.
limited edition for the Wii
Cool.
U, but I haven't opened it. It's actually sealed in the box.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Have you played with the Wind Waker?
Yeah, I have. You see, Zelda isn't really my thing, but I do
Okay.
like Twilight Princess, though. That's on the Wii itself.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, like I do like the kind of realistic sort of dark feel to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like if you look at like the visuals are nice for Wind Waker, but I prefer, you know, the kind of realistic kind of look to it. I think it suits the tone better.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I mean Wind Waker was very special in that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a cartoon, like, you know, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the visuals, you know, and the frame rate and everything for the Wii U for Wind Waker HD, just amazing. Like, you know what, you know,
Oh
like they
yeah.
can turn like an old game, but like literally into brand new, you know.
Yeah. Oh wow, I haven't seen that actually.
Yeah,
It sounds amazing.
yeah. If you look up on, you know, on YouTube, you know, how's your brother getting on with the game anyway with Zombie Vikings? Has he finished himself yet, or?
Oh yeah, no, he's. I think they're still working on it. I, he just told me he spent the night at the office working on the game from Friday to Sunday. He got home at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
This is Saturday after going to work on Friday morning. So they're busy, but yeah, they're really wrapping it up now. The last pieces to get it all finished.
I actually tweeted your brother. He put up on there on Twitter here right now on May 25th. Funny
yeah.
how, despite the Pikmin trilogy's ever-changing relationship to time, I still ended up beating each game in exactly 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, would you have played Pikmin at all?
Yeah.
I have number 3 on Wii U. What annoys me about it is the time thing, you know, because you can only stay in the level for like, a certain amount of time, you know, and then until the sun goes down, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just so hard for me, like.
Yeah, but I kind of like that the game forces you into a special tempo where you can't really force the game that way. You have to follow its rules, and it's sometimes it's really annoying, and you know you don't have the time to do what you plan because the sun is setting.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's something nice with that too, and that's also what I liked about Shenmue, I think. Have you played Shenmue too?
No, I haven't played it at all. Sorry.
Okay, but it's kind of like an open world. You walk around in a big city trying to find your father's killer, and sometimes uh, you need money to pay the rent for the hostel, so you
Yeah.
need to find a job, and then you can find some boring job in the harbor lifting crates, and it's really boring and difficult, but like work is, so you have to do that. And it's kind of nice how the game forces you to do boring things to like keep the life going.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you any interest in Shenmue 3?
oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, the Kickstarter. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited, and I mean, I don't know what they're doing with it actually. I don't know what it's gonna turn out to, but it's a really big thing that they decided to do that, and they announced that just like days after I finished Shenmue 2. It was really good timing.
Yeah, like, will you get it on PC or will you get a PS4 just to get it?
I'm not sure. Actually, I've kind of considered buying a PS4, but
Yeah,
let's see what my budget allows.
yeah. I don't know. I have a PS4 myself and a Wii U, and
Mm.
I love
Mm.
both of them. But well, I don't know. Personally, I find the PS4 lacks is like good games. You know, if you like, I have maybe 20 Wii U games here.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I have about 5 PS4 games,
Yeah.
like physical games, I guess. And one of them is actually Sick to the Man. I bought that on
Okay.
PS4.
Ah, wow.
Yeah,
The
no,
box version?
uh, yeah, no, like box version, yeah, because I
Oh yeah,
didn't know you
yeah,
could
cool.
get it, until Klaus told me last time.
Oh yeah, wow.
Which is pretty cool, because
Yeah.
it's the only version you can get as a physical copy is on
Yeah.
PS4.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just the games like aren't there. Like some of the best games. Like my favorite game on PS4, well, on
Hmm.
PlayStation so far is The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
Have you played that at
Actually,
all? No.
no, I haven't actually, but I heard a lot about it, and I should play it.
Yeah, and honestly, it's the greatest story I've ever played in my life in a video game.
Wow.
It is
Wow.
just so good. But like everything from story, the characters, the like visuals are great. Like it was a PS3 game, and they updated it as a remastered version for
Mm. Oh yeah.
PS4.
Yeah, I heard
Like
about
the
that.
music, everything is just brilliant on it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I should really do that. Look that up.
How do you feel about people, illegally downloading music?
Yeah.
Is it good
That's
or
really.
bad for the industry?
I mean, I think it depends a lot of on like who you are and what kind of role you have. But for me, I'm actually like happy that it's that opportunity exists that people can like reach my music,
Yeah,
and I Stick It to the Man is like free for download, the soundtrack,
yeah,
because I kind of realized that. I mean, it's I don't have a huge crowd, and more people will listen to it if they can pay what they want. So I mean, but on the other hand, I think it's kind of tough to make a living as a musician, especially as like a performing artist.
yeah. Like, I feel now it's different, compared to maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, I kind of feel that it's hardly possible to make a living out of like selling CDs anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, nowadays, my musicians get paid from concerts or stuff like that instead. And I think I mean, I have kind of uh, giving up the thought that it's possible to make any good money from making a CD.
yeah. Sure. Look,
Uh,
here, I think we have a plan here. I'll sing jazz. You get a band together, and we're good to go.
yeah, sure, absolutely, sure. Let's do that.
Like music is like mainly kind of like stuff like iTunes, Spotify. It's all download, digital.
Yeah,
And I personally hate digital. Like even with games, I hate downloading stuff. I feel like I need something physical because like you feel like you actually own it.
yeah.
How do you feel about I don't know what to call it, real music orchestra, as in like a band versus MIDI? Which would you
Mm.
prefer, and why?
Of course, I mean, real musicians are always preferable, but it's a it's a question of money mostly.
Yeah,
I mean, to hire a proper orchestra that should get paid properly, that costs a lot of money. So it's pretty much impossible to do that on an indie level. I don't know what it costs, but I mean, it's like 50 people that should have a proper wage.
yeah.
So, but in the music I've made for MIDI games, Stick It to the Man and Zombie Vikings, and also a few other projects, I've combined a lot. I always, for both projects, I have used three real wind players: a trumpet player, a saxophone player, and a trombone player.
Yeah.
And then in Stick It to the Man, I played drums that were real drums. Piano were mostly real instruments.
Yeah.
And some other things, but also combined with MIDI instruments. And there's a lot of things in like MIDI and computer music that has like a value on itself, not just like trying to imitate something, but like synthesizers or electronic drums that doesn't try to substitute the real thing, but is something on its own. And I mean that can be really, really nice, but it all depends on what you're using it for. I mean, like a MIDI saxophone will sound like crap pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
But like cool electronic drums can work and be even better than acoustic drums, depending on the circumstances and what
Yeah.
it's going to be used for.
Did you record the solo, the saxophone solo for Get Me a Shrink?
Yeah, that's all the saxophone things are real in Stick It to the Man,
Yeah.
like real instruments. Yeah.
That was just you playing, was it, or was it someone else for that song?
No, that's a hired saxophonist called Joel Heiros, a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Saxophonist.
Because like the solo in in the middle of it is just amazing.
Oh yeah, I haven't actually listened to that song for a while,
Yeah.
but the solo, yeah. I mean, it's all the saxophones and the trumpets and trombone recordings are real instruments.
How do you feel about like people who can't get a band together? Like there's pros and cons about this. Like software that will give you a sort of realistic sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm singing, obviously I hate using a backing track, but I have to use a backing track because I can't afford a band.
Yeah.
And I know here locally, where I live, like it's just so hard to get a band together.
Yeah.
And like I have backing tracks that sound so real, but
Yeah.
that were made with software. Like does that have a big effect on you? People using that software instead. Instead of.
Yeah, I spoke to a classical harpist the other day, and she was kind of concerned that I mean, you can buy these really expensive, fancy orchestral sampling libraries
Yeah.
that's really realistic, that's used in a lot of video games and even movies, and I mean, most people can't tell the difference, even if they're like listening closely.
Yeah.
I mean, even trained musicians can, but it's a really good fake. I mean, it takes a lot of work with the software to get there, but I don't know if I mean, it could be both that it threatens like real musicians because it's more difficult to get jobs because people use computer versions, but it can also just be that it's possible for projects with like lower production values to have orchestral music.
Yeah.
And people who wouldn't pay real musicians anyway because they don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
Can still make a good fake.
Tell us, what would be your favorite game of all time? What would you call the greatest game of all time?
Wow, that's a big one. I think I would either say like Shadow of the Colossus made a huge impact on me.
Yeah.
I love that it tells us a lot of story without actually without saying anything verbally. I think there's no like voice acting or even text, but it tells a lot. Have you played it?
No, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, but I haven't played it though.
But it's very interesting that these huge colossus that you kill, that's what you do in the game. But it's still, these colossus are like innocent and extremely beautiful and huge and really, really old, and you really feel bad about killing them.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting how they make the player like question their like, why am I doing this? Is this worth it? sort of. That's really, really like poetic in a way that I like. Oh, and I played Journey just a few weeks ago for the first time.
That's on PS4s. I can't remember what.
Yeah, PS3 and 4, I think.
Yeah, I haven't
I
played it. Yeah.
was at my brother's place playing it, and it was, yeah, that would probably, that's like it's really nothing short of a piece of art, like a visual and like an audiovisual art piece that's interactive as a game. But it's yeah, you
Yeah.
should really play that if you have the opportunity sometime.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like with games when it's, I mean, not just entertainment, but like beautiful in a way, or have some kind of artistic value.
Yeah.
And yeah, Journey is amazing in all ways.
What would be the worst game you ever played?
Oh, I probably haven't finished it. What would that be? I don't know actually. I don't have any good answer.
It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't. Hopefully, I don't remember it because it was crappy.
My answer, I haven't played it, but it's probably E.T. on the
Oh,
Atari
okay.
years ago.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a lot of really crappy like uh,
Video games,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That would probably be something like that.
Do you think video game movies could work?
Yeah, I think so. Isn't
Like you've like of Super Mario Bros, which wasn't really the best to be honest. Years ago with Bob Hopkins.
Oh yeah, the movie. Oh no, no, it wasn't. Oh, did you make like movies made out of video games or the other way around?
You know, like video games turn into movies. So, like there's Doom as
Okay.
well.
Oh, yeah, that's difficult. And the Silent Hill ones has been really crappy as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen any, but yeah, like
Yeah.
I like Resident Evil. I heard a couple of them are good, but did I hear two is probably the best film? But I remember watching the first one, and I just got bored. And I just turned it off. It was that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really tricky. I mean, it's two very, very different like mediums for uh yeah for telling stories.
Yeah, but it's
And I
funny
mean,
as well. Uncharted and actually The Last of Us are going to be films as well.
oh, they are.
Yeah,
Wow.
and there's a scene in Tom Cruise's film Mission Impossible where it was inspired by Uncharted 3, if I'm correct. There's a
Okay.
plane scene, you see him up in the air, and he is if you look up the behind the scenes, he is actually up in the air strapped on the plane. He is actually
Wow.
hanging off. Like that was inspired because of Uncharted, you know.
Okay, wow. Yeah, but I can see that. I mean, Uncharted is a like very cinematic game.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
I played the first and the second one, I think, but I mean, it's almost like movies but interactive somehow. Or they really wanted it to feel like an action movie, I suppose.
Yeah. And like I don't know, it looks to me that all the money now, if we're going for like performing aspect of it, is now in video games. Like you see people, like famous actors and actresses in video games now, like on on cap motion, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I was doing some improvisation theater or playing music for improvisation theater,
Yeah.
and one of the actors had a role in Bad Company 2 as a
Oh,
motion
nice.
capture actor. Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, he's a very very special like body language. He moves in a very special way. So I don't remember which character he was, but it was like one character that was his role.
Yeah.
And they even did like facial capture.
Yeah.
So we had these electrodes in his face and making faces that they recorded for animation as well.
Yeah. Like games have come a lot, you know, of so far, you know, compared to the 8-bit era, I guess. Look at the 1980s compared to now.
Yeah.
Like, did you watch E3 at all? Or any of Gamescom this week?
Yeah, a bit. Not a lot though, actually.
Like, if you look at, like, of the HoloLens, you know, from Microsoft, you know, working with Minecraft,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
the whole kind of virtual reality has gone up again, you know, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that stuff is pretty, I don't know, that's pretty cool, I think.
yeah. I remember when I was in high school or college, I wrote an essay about Second Life. Have you heard about that?
I don't think so.
Okay, no, it was I don't know if it's still a big thing, but it used to be, and it's really a life simulator-ish, like, I don't know, The Sims-ish, but you have your own character. And it's probably a bit like Minecraft as well, people building houses and cities and everything. And it was a lot about this, paying real money to buy stuff in the game world.
Yeah.
So I heard about someone who was making a living out of playing at bars in Second Life world and getting paid in real money.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary as well that people are really.
And how does that work
living
out?
lives.
Getting paid real money in a 3D world?
I don't know. You get paid in some kind of like.
I'm actually looking up right now.
Okay, yeah.
SecondLife.com, Your World, Your Imagination.
Yeah.
The largest ever 3D virtual world created entirely by its users.
Yeah.
And uses the Oculus Rift.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you probably can get paid and pay in some kind of like in-game credits that you can then transfer into real money somehow.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's cool and it's also kind of creepy.
All right, so have you anything to add before we wrap it up?
Not sure. No, haven't talked a lot about Zombie Vikings, but you'll probably hear about that soon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Are you involved in the secret project that Zoink Games is doing?
That depends on which one it is.
There's more than one, isn't there?
I mean, there's one secret project going on that I'm not involved in.
Yeah.
That's probably the most secret one, yeah. And then there's this next project that they're doing that hasn't officially been announced yet.
Yeah, I know Klaus did say something about working with Disney.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not a secret then.
Yeah, but he didn't say what it was though.
Okay, no. I suppose I shouldn't tell you either.
You can tell me after the podcast, right?
Yeah, I can. But I know I'm not involved in that game actually.
Yeah.
But I am involved in Zoink's next production, their own production.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So, what's your Twitter username? Have you got a SoundCloud page as well?
I've got both SoundCloud and Twitter. I'm called Joel Bulle at Twitter, and that's actually the second name Bulle is like a typing error, and in Swedish that means like cinnamon bun. So
really?
Yeah.
So we call you Joel Cinnamon Bun.
But on SoundCloud I'm just Joel Bille. SoundCloud.com/Joel Bille.
Yeah. All right. So again, much appreciated for coming on the show. Great having you here.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. You can check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Vine, and Twitch. And for more Nintendo and for more gaming podcasts, keep it right here. All right, guys. Stay fresh.